What's holding you back from starting or growing your business into what it can be? Well, if you're listening to this, it's not a lack of information. What you're about to hear is all you need to get motivated and start making waves. Do It for a Living podcast details the journey of today's true players in their own words. Find out how they broke out so you can too. The time is now. The time is always now.
Welcome back to another episode of Do It for a Living. I'm Todd Ersley with My Shop Assist, and today I have two guests with me, Theresa Contreras and Sara Morosan, and they are the owners of LGE-CTS Motorsports. And so it's a off-road truck company. You know, they do builds, they do paint and body, they do everything you could ever imagine. And I've known them for, I think I met them formally at SEMA last year, but I've seen them around a lot. They do a lot of SEMA builds and a lot of cool builds in general. And so really excited to have them on the podcast today. So how are y'all doing today?
Great. We appreciate that. We're doing great, Todd. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Just kind of making my way through. We haven't had an episode in a couple weeks. Reed helped out, the original guy doing the episodes, a little while ago, and so trying to get back into it. So I was happy when the guys over at Con Media reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got some good guests for you," and I was like, yes, I would love to interview you too. And so wanted to get, the first thing we like to really discuss is your personal background. And so kind of would like to hear, where did you grow up? What did you guys do as kids? And even like, what is your age difference, to kind of see how that dynamic plays out? And then kind of, what was your education? Did you guys go to college? Did you have like a quote unquote real job? And so if you can kind of, just give us a background information about yourself.
So this is Theresa. So I do the custom paint and design work here at LGE-CTS. And I mean, a little bit background. I mean, obviously we're going to have a little bit of the same background there. But I'm 45, and we kind of started out with, our parents. Basically, our dad was, he grew up, he worked at a dealership. And so the dealership in the 80s, that was like the time of the recession back then. And so it kind of, he got laid off. So my mom was like, why don't you just, work on cars in the garage and stuff. So we pretty much grew up with like cars being worked on in the garage and just, going out off-roading. We grew up in the desert. So riding motorcycles, mostly around Fords. My dad was a big Ford guy.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of Ford F-100s. He had Broncos and stuff. So that was a big thing too. My mom was more of the Chevy girl and stuff. So, but we kind of grew up around that. For myself, I ended up going to Cal Poly Pomona for graphic design. So that kind of took me in a little bit different direction, but not really. I mean, it wasn't, as I did that, I actually worked as a machinist. So I worked as a machinist, started doing graphic design. And then when I became pregnant, I was like, got to go back to the family business kind of thing. And so I came to our auto body shop, that our parents had started and stuff. And basically, was like, the secretary, and helped my mom with like bills and the office and stuff like that. And then basically, so then I was pregnant, I had my son. So then, about a year or two down the line, I was kind of like, they were outside and we were waiting for someone to come pinstripe a car. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're waiting forever for this guy to come. Like, it's already been like a week. Like, I was like, you guys, I'm just going to do it. And they were like, what do you mean you're going to do it? You've never done it before. I was like, no, I've watched all these people do things. Like we were always really like hands-on, and like our parents were very much like you can do anything kind of thing, like they just, my dad would be like, here's a tool, go do this. And we're like, okay. He would like, be like, here's a truck and trailer, go drive it. We're like, got it, Dad. Okay. Yeah. How do you do that? And she knows, huh?
Yeah, totally.
So, it was always kind of like that. So, I was like, oh, I just have to go pinstripe this. I'm like, you guys, it's no big deal. I'm like, I'll do it, because I watched them, and when we pinstripe, you can wipe it off, and so I was like, totally got this. So I literally stayed that night. I watched them and everything. And then I would say I did it 20 times, right? I'd put it and be like,
Yeah,
that's
no,
horrible.
not right, and wipe it off.
Yeah.
Do it again, wipe it off, do it again. And so then in the morning, everyone came in and they're like, oh my God, you did it. And I was like, yeah, I told you I was going to do it. Why did you think I wasn't going to, and then, kind of just from there on, I was kind of like, I kind of like painting and stuff and doing things like that. So I really used like my graphic design background from college, and then started to use that for doing like, paint and graphics and stuff like that. So, because I was already doing different like mediums and paint and working and doing stuff like that. So I was like, it's no different. It's all chemistry or science and trying to figure it out, and stuff. And then creative too. So, yeah, I literally would lock myself in the paint booth at night and I would teach myself how to paint. And so now we do designs and all kinds of SEMA builds and stuff. And just that's kind of where I'm at now.
Very cool. And then the other side of the team.
Yeah. So yes, my story is a little bit different. I started working at the family business when I was 15, or I should say I started collecting a paycheck when I was 15. Yeah. And I always knew I wanted to be in the automotive industry. I actually thought I wanted to be an insurance adjuster or do something more on the auto body side. And when I was 18, I went to school and I was taking business classes, accounting and marketing classes. And then I also was taking at Citrus College, I took an automotive class, it was like they have like a Toyota program there, but I was taking just their regular automotive, like suspension 101 and tires. And then I went to actually go work for one of my dad's competitors that owned a body shop just like probably about 20 minutes away. And I worked there for about 6 months and then realized I didn't want to work for another company.
Yeah, okay.
So I wrote a business plan because that's what we were doing in school at the time. We were in the middle of writing business plans, and I asked my parents if we could start the aftermarket accessory side into a full-time like shop, because we already had the website, which was customtruckshop.com. So it was easy search engines to find, because back in 96 there was no way to like really search for a product and look for it. So it was something that was just an easy way to look things up. So my sister Theresa helped me with the website and all of that. So we decided in I guess it was like 99 to go ahead and open the brick and mortar store. And after we were running it inside of the body shop, one of the bays, and inside the area. And then in 2001, we actually took over one of the buildings that my parents had owned. One of the leases went up. So we actually moved in over there. And then my mom and dad came to that side, to the truck shop side with me. And that's when my sister was here and her husband, and they started running the body shop side.
Very cool. Yeah, so it all kind of came around. Yeah. So it's all kind of intertwined. So we have a little bit different backgrounds. Yeah. But you all ended up in the same area, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely we did. In like 2001 or 2011, we combined our shops together.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when we got the full big name LGE-CTS Motorsports.
That's where it came together. Okay.
Yeah. So what had happened is a lot of people just didn't realize like we were all the same, like family and business, and because we had two different names and everything. And we were like, yeah, but we all do the same stuff, and you guys are like literally walking across the way from us, But so yeah, that's why we decided to do that.
Yeah, and even like we'd get published in like magazines, and we'd get covers and stuff, and it would be, oh, Custom Truck Shop did this, and like we'd get the tech articles and stuff from the Custom Truck Shop side, but then the LNG Enterprise side would get all of the magazine covers and the SEMA builds, because that was more of the paint and design side. And a lot of people didn't know that we did both.
That's the same. Yeah. That you could do everything, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So with the two companies, so that was the LGE, that was the paint and body shop. And then the CTS was the custom truck shop. And so what does the LGE stand for again?
So that one's, so my parents basically, they had started the business. So it's a Louie and Gerry Enterprises.
Okay, gotcha.
So LNG Enterprises.
LNG Enterprises. Okay. And then custom truck shop is the CTS.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then when you merged those, I mean, I'm just thinking like from an accountant standpoint, did one business like buy the other one? Did you just put the books together? You know, are they now one entity like LGE-CTS Motorsports LLC or whatever it is?
Yes. Yeah, they did come together as one entity. We did basically dissolve one of them and then bring that into the other one.
Merged it into the one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't really talked to anybody that's kind of merged businesses together like that. So, you know, it's kind of,
we kind of keep the books like, so not fully separate, but we can tell, you know, by just certain accounts and stuff like that, like what we're doing on each side separately. So like, hey, we have some retail sales for wheels and stuff. That all has their separate categories, so it's easy for us to kind of pull that out, and to see where those numbers are.
Okay, gotcha. But it's still under one business name. Gotcha.
Yep, totally. Yeah.
So you're in California, is that correct?
Yep.
So we kind of like to ask the location question. You know, that business being started with very expensive location, like, but there's a lot of people, you know, it's California gets, honestly, like it gets a really bad rep. You know, I'm in Texas, so literally everybody from California is moving here just because they're like, here, have no taxes. And everybody's like, sure. But it's still a powerhouse. Like every time I go there, I just can't believe how much industry is actually there, but obviously it's very expensive and there's extra regulations and all these hoops to jump through. But, you know, do you think the location has played a role in your success? You know, if you guys were in the Midwest, you know, or somewhere, do you think that would have, you know, changed your outlook on it?
I definitely think the location has a huge reason for why we've been successful, because so it's funny, I definitely like the SEMA show and things like that, but I mean, you look in most of the most of the magazines, the publishers and things like that, they're all in LA. They're all based in LA like that. So we were doing like a lot of magazine photo shoots and you know, just vehicles, like she said, tech installs, you know, tech articles and stuff.
Yeah, and they're
all
there.
local.
Yeah,
they're all in Southern California. So a lot of that, a lot of when we do work for SEMA and stuff like that, like I would say 75% of the show is probably from Southern California.
From California,
the vehicles that are built. Yeah. I mean, yes, they're all over, but you know, you know, like, oh, this person and this person, oh, just take it up there. They're close, you know, or something like that. And basically you have that like network of people that you start working with. And I definitely think it's played a huge role in why we've been successful.
Yeah. So it makes it worth it to be out there to like deal with the price. I mean, even just the real estate prices.
You know, I've noticed too, but a lot of the people that are builders that are in other states have either started in California or a lot of the builders they come to California all the time. For things. So I noticed that that's definitely like a huge play, because some of our friends that are builders, like they used to live out here and now they live in another state and they're not.
Totally.
Yeah.
So they take that reputation with them, but they build it.
Yes.
They started in California. Yeah.
Yes.
So what about, you know, like maybe some self-doubt? You know, is there ever an instance where you're like, man, I just don't know if this is going to work? You know, you guys survived through the Great Recession, and then, you know, just anything kind of in that area has there been any instances where you guys were just like really struggling to make it through?
Any
or
how many?
Today or what day?
Yeah.
I know. It's like, do people think it's easy? Because if they're just doing it and it's easy every day, then I want to do what they're doing.
You want to do what they're doing?
But I'm pretty sure if you're like a business owner, there's always something that, you know, and it depends on how you look at something. You know, is it a struggle or is it a challenge? You know, like it's how you meet something and want to face it. But lots of challenges.
Yeah.
I think that's on a daily basis. I mean, it can be anything from, just being like, oh, making sales, to just, dealing with, employees or, different types of things. So there's always, I think, something coming up, or then, we make new challenges for ourselves by wanting to do more, so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Not saying no sometimes.
Yes.
Get you in trouble.
It's that special word, huh?
Yeah. and we've discussed
it's so small, but so big.
It's so big. Yeah. It's such an important part of business. And, you've touched on the SEMA builds, and I, mentioned it at the beginning as well. I see you guys doing a lot of those. And it's so much work, and it's amazing the time crunches that, those builds get put under. Obviously you do a lot of them. Are you seeing still a good return on those physical builds? Is it partly just to keep the relationships with the manufacturers, or, drawing people in? How are those builds working out for you guys?
It's a large part of probably our business of what we do. We're doing them not only for like really regular automotive aftermarket manufacturers, like, that are SEMA related, but actual manufacturers too, for like Ford or Kia and people like that as well. So yeah, I mean, we've went from back in the day, we used to do free work, to turning it into a business that helps run our business now today.
Yeah, so those SEMA builds,
we don't do SEMA builds for free. We charge for our SEMA builds.
Yeah, and so do you have people coming to you now to build the vehicle? Like you said, like Ford and Kia, like I feel like that's a pretty sweet deal to get to build some of their vehicles, and you're getting paid to do it. So is it, is them coming to you now, has that been working out well?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't complain.
They're like good paying customers then, right? Like do they understand the budgets and what it takes to build these cars, or are they ones that you have to like really struggle to get money out of them?
Oh, no. I think so the reason why people have been coming to us for so long is that we work with them on what they need to get done. So to me, a build isn't about it is about the final build, but it's about understanding fully what someone expects of you throughout the entire build to get to that point. So whether or not that includes budget, design, their idea of what they want to accomplish, it's us going through that and going, someone can like pitch something to us right away and be like, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this in this time frame. And I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah. There's no way. Yeah.
So we've been doing it so long that we can be like on the fly, be like, okay, well, this can get done and this can get done. Okay. That can get done in this time frame and this can happen. Okay. So yeah, that can probably happen, but it's going to be this much for that to happen, so we can really like give a good idea and understanding of like where something can go, or work with people. They can be like, this is what I have for a budget, and be like, okay, well, this is what we can do, so it depends on like what's important to someone, and we work with it around that. Sometimes it's more budget, sometimes it's more design, sometimes it's like, I have this huge lofty idea. It's like, well, this is how much that huge lofty idea costs, so it's a little bit of everything. It's really us understanding a build from start to finish.
Okay. Yeah. They seem so involved. I've had one vehicle in there when the Ford Focus came out, the RS came out. I got lucky enough to get one of those and got in a booth, but it was nothing like an actual custom build. And I'm continually amazed at the amount of work and effort that's put into those vehicles. And then, I personally don't ever get to see them again, but I know that they go on to live a life somewhere. At least I hope most of them do.
Yeah. So when the Focus RS came out, we did one for Tanner Faust.
Okay.
Which does he does global rallycross and stuff. So we did one. That one was in the Ford booth, and it won a design award. So we get to do a lot of cool things.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys doing anything with Jeep, or are you guys Ford? Do you keep it in the Ford family?
Well, for the SEMA, I'm a Jeep girl, so I'm really into Jeeps and off-roading, and I look forward to going to Moab every year or doing any type of off-road training that I can. So I'm really into Jeeps, and I'm in a Jeep club. But I was going to get a Gladiator this year, and I just kept going back and forth. So I'm actually didn't end up buying one this year. So I'm probably going to do it in early next year.
Yep.
Get probably a new JL or something. But mostly when we do builds, they are the Fords or the Kias, mostly because we have a relationship with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, what is something that you guys are doing right now that's got you really fired up?
I mean, obviously, like, no, a lot of them we have, NDAs on.
Okay. Yep.
We're told, like, oh, we can't release this until, something's released for the show. So we have a couple of our own personal builds that will be going. And yes, they will be in the Ford booth. So we can tell you that.
Okay.
So we have what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 2 of our own personal ones. And then we have 2 other builds that will be in the Ford booth.
Very cool.
5,
I believe. 5? What's the other one? Oh, I can't ask you.
Don't ask about it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys are, I assume that the cars are, I mean, it's SEMA crunch time. We're doing this on October 4th. So you've got another.
Oh, I know what the 5th one is. I know what the 5th one is. Thanks.
Your secrets.
Yeah, no problem.
That was awesome. So, and then you could talk about some of the other ones, Sarah. Like, I would mention like Keystone and Lund.
Yeah. So Keystone came to us earlier in the year, asking us to help with a build that they're building. And actually it's a cool idea. Like, they're going around to different shops, having them do different installs on different product that they provide at their warehouse.
Okay.
When it came to the custom side of the build, or like what they call the wow factor of it, they're having us do that kind of doing that part of the install for them. So the vehicle is going through different shops, and we helped with, like, my sister did all the renderings and design, coming up with the concept. And then we helped with, like, what products should be going on there. And then they go after the product and stuff like that. And then we help with, like, part numbers and things like other small ideas. Like, even though they have someone that does all of that stuff, we just helped helping them, like, guide them through the build.
Okay. Yep.
Makes sense. Yeah. So right now we're doing all the custom stuff on it. And that will be in the Overland area at SEMA for Keystone. And then we're building an F-150 for Lund Industries. Same thing. They kind of came to us about a build. They kind of told us a vehicle. They said, this is the vehicle we want to do, And so we pitched an idea to them. Hey, let's build it like this, give them a whole theme. My sister did a rendering. We told them what products we want, what brand products we want to go with it. And basically then they said, okay, we love that idea. We worked back and forth with them on, okay, we will love this idea. We want to go with these brands or those brands or whatever it is. And so we're building their F-150 this year that will be in their booth as well.
They're like a acre
North
booth.
Southall.
Like,
yeah, right.
I think they may have one of the biggest ones.
I know, especially because they just got bought by Truck Hero. So I think it's like the whole.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I interviewed Jason Gauchi of Lund International. I guess it may have changed names at this point, but
yeah.
And that was probably a year or so ago when I did that interview with him. Theirs was pretty interesting because again, it's a large company that owns a whole bunch of other companies, and that's really cool that they're doing a lot of builds, and I'm excited to see what you guys come up with for their booth.
Yeah, and it's cool because they have different people do different builds and things, and I think that helps keep their booth not look all the same. Have some different ideas in there. Yep. In it and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool concept on what they do, and then we still do builds for other manufacturers as well. Like last year we did the one for RBP that was in their booth, and so we do some different different ones that we have relationships with manufacturers. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, we did. And then we did the Kias last year too. So they had, so Kia came out, they had a brand new Telluride. So they had those shipped straight over to us. And this was like late August or it was like late August.
Yeah. Like a brand new car.
Oh yeah. Not even exactly. Literally like air freighted to us.
Yeah.
And the first car went to New York Fashion Week. So that one we got 2 weeks to build because that's the first week of September. So that one we did with Brandon Maxwell. And then that one got shipped over to New York. And then I had to go there and do some touch-ups on it and stuff too. But then that one ended up going to SEMA along with 4 other Tellurides that this was a challenge for us, the first time ever having to not only make cars look pretty, but actually have them perform at the show the entire time. So they were doing, the like a program where, you could get to, ride in one with them. So they did like a full obstacle course and everything. So that was a big challenge last year, but that was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, that's becoming a really big thing with the interactive stuff for the showgoers. I mean, obviously Ford takes over like the entire front parking lot, and then they had BMW was in the side lot, and then the Kia one. Yep, I remember seeing that one briefly. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's like it's become an amusement park outside for entertainment.
Definitely,
you could just stay outside the whole time. Probably have a really good see a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
So on that, let's take a real quick break, and then we'll be right back.
We all know owning a shop is difficult, so we created My Shop Assist to help you manage the various jobs. Whether you run a machine shop, a performance tuning shop, build off-road trucks, or even do powder coating, My Shop Assist can help you. It is completely online and will help you schedule the jobs, log time on each task, track parts orders, and take pictures of the work. You can even export your jobs from My Shop Assist into QuickBooks as invoices. So if you're interested to improve operations at your shop, check out myshopassist.com to start your 30-day free trial.
So I'm back with Theresa and Sara of LGE-CTS Motorsports, and we wanted to I wanted to dive a little deeper into the business itself. So we talked earlier, the businesses have merged. Are you guys still like neighbors? Is it still kind of run out of the same facility?
Yeah, it's run out of the same facility.
Okay.
We've merged into one location.
Okay. So how big is how many square feet is the shop space in total now?
12,000.
And do you guys, do you rent that building or do you guys own it?
Parents own it still.
Okay. So is it something they've had for a long time? I think you mentioned earlier, like the lease ran up somewhere. And so you guys moved into that one. They've owned this one for a while now. Okay, so that's at least helping. But it sounds like you guys do you pay rent to that?
We sure do.
Still have to pay rent for it. Yeah.
Parents' retirement.
Yep. Well, so exactly. Our parents in 2018 retired.
Okay, and now they just get rental income from their kids, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so how many people make up, if you wanted to separate them out into each, or if there's overlap, how many people are now employed by the business? I
believe there's 13 right now.
Okay, so it's a pretty good sized shop, but they've got at 12,000 square feet, you've got quite a bit of room. So is there, is quite a bit of it taken up with the lifts, or is it inventory, or is it, the paint and body side? How's it kind of spread out?
We actually, when we did the merge, when my parents retired last year, we actually, just the beginning of this year, we actually downsized our shop.
Okay.
So we went from being 22,000 square feet or 23,000 square feet at 20 employees or 25 employees. And we actually downsized mainly because it helped too with our quality control as well. And we noticed being larger, it was taking so much time for us to walk back and forth through the shops to just even get something done. I mean, it was like ridiculous on SEMA last year. It was like, oh, we need to go up front to the paint shop to go grab this and this. So we'd walk up front, and it was like in one day we're walking, 11 miles.
Yeah, you got your little pedometer tracking it all.
Yeah, and if you think about how long it takes you to actually walk 11 miles, like in a day, that's that much time, So actually, so far for us, I feel that the us merging into the one building in front, we actually did a full renovation on our showroom.
Cool. Yep.
And on all of our, like pretty much all of our equipment too, I'd say too. We got a new compressor, right? The Kaiser compressor. Yeah, Kaiser compressor. And so we just remodeled our whole shop, revamped it all, made all of our space usable instead of having like wasted space.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's a little tighter, but I think that our guys are working together way better now. And we actually have a little more control about like what is going on. That's how I feel anyway about it. I mean, I don't know if Theresa feels differently. But the downsize of the shop actually, I think, improved a lot of our quality and the speed of the vehicles going through our shop. We're actually getting them in and out faster.
Yeah, that's something I really like to hear. Obviously from a business plan standpoint, you never want to be like, I'm going to downsize. That's never usually a goal, but if you want to focus on efficiency and throughput, getting cars in and out quicker, or having more time to do the things you like to do, that can be that can really be something where you're like, this has gotten too big. It's too difficult to manage for what you guys wanted to see. And I like to hear the downsizing, it's never good for jobs or that kind of stuff. But, if it's coming down to the business staying or going, that's at least going to keep it going. And then you're like, oh, we're making more money now or doing better or building more product, better product.
Yeah. Definitely. Go ahead.
No, and even, some of it is, a generation thing. We, like she said, our parents had started this. So they definitely had, one way of doing business and everything. Although we were still all partners, we've definitely gone into the direction of like, okay, like it's ours now fully.
Yeah.
We need to, run with it, in some of the ideas that we have and, see if they're going to work, and so like she said, a lot of it has been like, the organization of things like, oh, it's a lot smaller and tighter, but at the same time, everyone's working together better and we're being more efficient in all of those things.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think too, at the larger building, because we had so much, I don't know if it was like necessarily like just the space, but we were starting to get into like things that we weren't passionate about. It was like, oh, we have to fill our schedule and our guys with like doing projects and things that like, they weren't our passion. They were to get money through the door and to fill. And now we're actually back to like, my sister and I are back to like, hey, we need to focus on what we want the business, what we're passionate about and why we're doing this, because then it makes it too much of a job, Yeah,
it's good to step back and be like, what do I need to do to have fun? It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
It's not, it's going to be stressful, but this is a passion-driven business. It's most people are not in it for the money. They're in it for the fun.
Right.
But you still need to make money.
Yeah, exactly. Both of those things. Yeah. It's
Both
still a business.
Things,
it's still a business. Yeah, that's, I consult a lot, and that's really a lot of it is like, you still have to look at it as a business, like you're not charging enough or you're doing stuff that don't make money. Like, don't do that kind of deal. Yeah. And it's really cool to hear that you guys downsize, and the physical space and redid the shop. That's something that is extremely difficult to do. Most of the time that only happens if you move locations. So my business partner, he's moved his shop out of growth necessity and out of landlord kicking out necessity. And it's, each time it's like, okay, I get a clean slate to make this a little better. And it takes a month just to move a small shop. So it's like, it's amazing how long and how much work it is to revamp stuff.
Yeah. I would definitely say the So we started doing the downsizing right after SEMA last year.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the other building was sold, and so in that time period, there was 2 months of us like basically either getting rid of things and going like, wow, we have a lot of stuff to get rid of. Like we don't need all of this to come over. It's not all gonna fit, you know? So during that time, and then when the actual move hit too. So there was a lot of that. And same thing, we look at ourselves, we're like, man, how did we make all of that happen and still work in all of that time, you know? Because it's a lot. It literally, like you said, it's almost a month of like downtime, you know, of doing things and stuff still. So
as far as like sources of revenue goes, can you give maybe like a percentage breakdown for the different kind of sides of the business? Because in my head, I'm picturing like, okay, you guys obviously paint cars, but you know, is there like our SEMA builds part of it, and then customer builds part of it, and then like maybe even just the fun paint and body stuff? I don't know if that exists, but I assume that's kind of fun.
Right.
Like, is there a breakdown of the business for that kind of thing?
So it's kind of seasonal, you know, and it's, you know, like any business, I think everyone kind of has that too. For us, even as like, you know, when we were just solely like mostly just doing body shop stuff, it's the same thing. You know, during September and October, we get super busy. So what's funny is like during summer, so the body shop side, we have both sides. So the body shop and then the truck shop side have different cycle times. So like that's summer, the truck shop is up and then the body shop is down because no one wants to bring their car in. But then they go back to school and then the body shop side's up and then the truck shop side's down. So it kind of cycles through depending on the time of year. And then during SEMA, that kind of starts for us in August, early August, late July, August, until the end of that. And then we get busy again with like, you know, aftermarket sales, because then you have, you know, Christmas coming up.
Okay.
And we do get busy with body shop stuff because a lot of people get in accidents because they're in a hurry. It's funny. So it cycles depending on what that is. Sometimes it can be 50-50. During SEMA, it's definitely a lot higher. I would say, you know, 80-20 at least with SEMA builds. You know, but sometimes we're also have revenues of selling things, you know, like online. You know, we used to, you know, attend like events like different shows like the Sand Sports Super Show or different things like that. So we do look at different ways of generating revenue, and we understand being in different industries so long that things are seasonal. You know that, you know, hey, this is coming up right now. So it's like SEMA, this is our busy time of year. This is what we ramp up to do. We know that we can be, you know, like, oh, okay, other times of year, it's going to be a little quieter. We're going to be doing a little less of this, or we're just doing, you know, regular body shop stuff. Okay, cool. Bring this in because that's what's paying the bills right now, you know?
So you can kind of plan for it and change as it comes.
Yeah. You can, I mean, you know, if you're doing forecasting and stuff in business, you can kind of see your numbers and kind of gauge it from there and kind of go towards that, you know, for next year and stuff. So.
And you mentioned the online sales. Is that something that you guys are pushing to do more of?
Yes and no. I mean, we're definitely online sales are always hard because obviously you have so many competitors when you're online. So we want to make sure that like when we do have our online sales, they're on products that, you know, companies have a MAP pricing on, products that we actually make a good margin. You know, we don't want to be like, you know, an auto anything where we're just every single product is on there. We just don't have that capability. And so we have to know we can't be competitive when it comes to that. So yes, we do. We are trying to push more of the online sales and stuff, but we really try to make sure that we focus on very specific brands when we come to online sales so that we don't have a huge like competition when it comes to those sales.
And we've seen a pretty good resurgence of that. I think the manufacturers see the value in that kind of stuff. And I've been trying to push that for quite a while to get some it's not really price fixing. I mean, it's literally just building in enough margin that people can actually make money with it. And then, actually enforcing it. That's really the hard part, is actually enforcing it. So seeing a little bit of that. And now I haven't talked to anybody that's in California doing business about this kind of thing lately, but are you guys having to kind of change your strategy at all with regard to, like, I mean, there was even one for like exhaust noise level. Is that right? Like, I mean, there's like certain stuff that like can't even get sent to California anymore. So, I mean, really, like, how are you guys like dealing with that? Is it just something you're like, okay, whatever, we're just not going to work with that anymore? How does that all play out?
It's not too bad. I mean, yes, we have like the people with the, exhaust noise or things like that, but we're not like huge in performance stuff. We do sell some of the exhaust systems, but we're more on like suspension side and things like that. So we try to really focus. I mean, we're constantly changing what we always have to change and be like, oh, we can't sell that anymore. Let's focus more on this. Okay. Trends are changing. We have to focus more on this. So, I mean, It's constantly changing all the time, like either if it's laws or if it's trends or what it is. For us, I don't really look at those and be like, oh my gosh, we're not going to have any business anymore. Well, we don't just sell just those.
Okay.
And like, especially being in California, we're used to this all the time.
Yeah, it's nothing new for you. Yeah.
You have to understand, this is like a normal thing. Like, oh, we can't do that anymore. Got it. Okay. Oh, we can't, for spray, like even regulations for paint, air quality, all of these things. I mean, that's a constant thing. It's a constant thing. Always that's happening, Now it's like, oh, it's not just, those standards. Now it's like, oh, now the city's coming out to do something. Oh, this is a new tax or something. There's a lot of that. And I think we just always have to be looking ahead and seeing like what's next, what are we doing? And we're always trying to kind of look forward to see what we're doing, not staying in where we're at, but always looking forward to see like, oh, what is everyone else doing right now? What's the industry? What are consumers, what's the latest trends? Like, is that the next big thing to, jump on or do we stay with what we're at or, so we have to kind of navigate that constantly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do, I got sometimes kind of get my blinders and I get stuck on the performance side just cause that's where my background is at. But the off-road or on off-road, the lifted trucks and the SUVs and stuff, that really doesn't have to deal with a lot of it, at least from the emission standpoint. Cause you guys just like, don't touch it. Like they're done. Like you don't have to worry about it. You can accessorize all day long without any ramifications. So you are a little bit protected. I'm sure they'll come out with something, but at least for the time being, you're pretty free to do, lifts and light bars and paint and body mods and all that kind of stuff and interior.
Yeah.
None of that is really going to get.
Well, some of that kind of stuff right now is like sensors, bumper sensors and things like that.
Sensors.
So we're running into that already because when you're lifting a vehicle, now you're changing the height of where those sensors are. So there are things like that are affecting us as well, as those types of things change. Yeah.
And I heard rumblings of that at SEMA last year with one of the groups, the emerging trends, ETTN, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Are you guys part of that group?
No, we're not on ETTN because that's more of like the engineering side of it that does that, and we're not engineers. I was on LTA and TORA for 8 years, but I just termed out, so I'm on SBN now. So I'm a select committee on there,
and
then I'm also
SEMA,
the SEMA Businesswomen's Network.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, so. But we still get to talk about, that kind of stuff because SEMA does, like everyone knows like, oh, the SEMA show, but like SEMA's obviously, all year round, they're constantly working on stuff. They're constantly coming out with things. And so they do have the classes on the new sensors and everything too. I haven't been to it yet, but I know it was an issue. So ETTN brought up that up, and now they had classes throughout this year.
Very cool.
to teach about it. So that's definitely awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. They're kind of staying on top of that because that's going to be a big part. I'm assuming that most of the vehicles that come in get new bumpers and you lift them.
Yeah.
So like that's all involved with it.
Yeah. And a lot of the new vehicles have the sensors and the fender flares and stuff now too for
lane departure stuff.
Lane departure. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus. It's so complicated.
Yeah. And that's the great part about SEMA is there are so many different committees and organizations and types of ways for them to like help you and let you know like, hey, this is what's happening. Hey, this is what's happening. So like, it's definitely something we always recommend to people. Like, why aren't you a part of SEMA? Like, do you understand like how much they actually offer you? Like, it's not the SEMA show. It's like what SEMA does for you, So there's all these things, like that as well, because if you're not staying up to date on what's happening with that, as a business person, I mean, it's not smart business,
Yeah. I try to get everybody to be SEMA members, and it's, there's obviously pushback, but it has so many benefits outside of just the show itself.
I know if you're a SEMA member, people are like, well, I've been a SEMA member. And I was like, yeah, but you're not actually involved. Like you can't just pay your due. Like you need to actually be involved. Like when they send the things out, like read them or go to the mixers, go to the other things, volunteer to be on task force or councils, because it's like, there's people that are like, this has been an issue for 10 years and I still complain about it. And I'm like, well, you should volunteer to be on the task force because those are the people who actually are making the difference.
You want to have a voice, go there and have a voice.
Don't just complain, do something about it.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Because they need help just as much to know, like they have the resources. It's really up to us to make sure that they're using them correctly for our industry because it's for us,
So for your business, what have you found to be kind of the best methods to actually promote it? I know it's kind of like just like a waterfall of things you can do.
Right.
Has there been anything, specifically that you guys see a good return on investment from?
So I would say, I would think that the biggest thing is probably networking, like really getting to know other people in the businesses and doing things in that sense. Even being part of like SEMA and stuff like that. Like Sara was talking about, I mean, we get our names out in a lot of different ways. And yes, there's social media. I definitely think, it's huge. There is no doubt in my mind that's not, if you're not doing it, then you're just, you're not in today's economy, because you have to be doing it. But, back in the day, we used to do, phone book ads or, different things like that and stuff. And finally, we just even stopped doing that. But that was before, the huge push in social media because it was the same kind of thing. Most of our business is word of mouth. So by networking, by just doing, good work, by, telling people like, please let other people know this is what we do, so then, starting to get awards and things like that, for the show and stuff. So, it all takes time and stuff, but, on my opinion, that's really the biggest part of it.
Yeah. So the networking it's hard for a lot of people because they think they're so busy. And they are really busy, but getting out to those events and then meeting face to face still has value, right?
It does.
It has a lot of value. And I think for us too, like doing actual events, like like us doing like the trade show, like the Sandsport Super Show or, the expos, or even going out to things like Easter Jeep Safari or doing trail rides with like local Jeep clubs and stuff like that. I think it brings value to the company because, or like my sister does like the Raptor runs and things like it. So it's like letting people know like, hey, like this is the lifestyle. We love doing this. This is what we do. We believe in it. We know how to do it. We don't just sell the parts for it. We do this. We use the product we're selling to you. I think that too, like it even just shows on social media, like it gives us things to show that we're out there doing it. And then being at the actual expos and things like that, it shows, I mean, it puts us face to face with a lot of customers. I mean, they see us on social media, they're seeing us, our names, places, but now maybe they've never came to our shop, but now it's making them physically walk up to us and talk to us and have a conversation. So, we might not see, every single person that walks up to us, but we might get a really good customer or, 5 good customers out of that, that one day. So I think it's important for us to get out there constantly and always be in front of people. Like you have to stay in front of people.
Yeah. The actual interaction with people is still above social media for sure.
Well, how many hours do you work in a typical week? Are you guys still doing the 80 hours a week? Or are you down? I mean, I guess it's SEMA time. So
that's
like
pretty,
out of these couple of months, do you have it down to like a legit 40, 45 hours a week? Or are you still kind of still thrashing?
Oh, no. Oh yeah. No, literally during these like 3 months, it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
it's usually that much work. I mean, like even like the Kia Tellurides we did last year. So we had 4 of those. I mean, to look at them, so we didn't get them till like a second week in September, I think.
Yeah,
so we have
September
6 weeks,
12th or 15th. Yeah.
6 weeks to do that. And so you're talking, all full custom parts that you've never seen this car before, to make parts for them and stuff. And then, repaint entire vehicles, do suspension for them. So the place that we had to do suspension was like, they're an hour away. So like, then we were getting vehicles to them and bringing them back. And, like there is just all kinds of logistics and things happening in that time frame. And like, literally it's like, oh, we're picking these cars up at 2 a.m. and that all of that happens.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And like, they were literally picking cars up and it's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock. And we were like on the floor sleeping and we're like, oh, wait, we didn't go to sleep. We're just like tired and they're here already to pick it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it definitely is totally exactly like that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Busy. I mean, is it worth it? Like I have to ask that question, like, could you see yourself doing anything else and maybe not having such a busy life? Or are you like, this is what I want to do and I like working that much. It's totally, it's a good thing to be around the shop that much.
So, I mean, there could be both sides to it, I guess, but I personally, yes. I mean, they know I probably have a problem. I'm probably around it too much. But I do, I love doing it. And I don't think it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would rather be like, oh, I need to go ride my motorcycle or, oh, let's go off-roading or something. Yeah, there are times. But like even, next week, we have an event called Babes Ride Out. And so it's an all-female motorcycle event that we've been attending. And every year during SEMA, we're like, nope, we have to go to this event. It means that much to us, and we have to take off 4 days to go to this event. But it's like, it means that much to us. So it's that important. So we still make time for other things too and stuff. And we're still making sure that happens. But crunch time is crunch time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
And even when it's not SEMA, I mean, there's crunch time, but even when there's not SEMA, we keep ourselves so busy with work. But I mean, to be honest with you, like, this is what we love to do. We are enthusiasts. So it's like, some people are like, oh man, you're always working. And I'm like, I don't really see it as us like always working, because this is what we love to do. I mean, like, we're very passionate about it. So to us, it's like, we want to get out there and be a part of everything. My sister owns a company, or 501c3, which is a nonprofit, which is a real deal that teaches women, the trade, and, goes out to different shows all the time. And, they teach welding and pinstriping and leather work and metal shaping and blacksmithing, and they put the tools in hands of women. We also sit on a board for another, for an automotive school that's also a nonprofit. It's called the Alex-Xidius and Pete Shapour's School for Automotive Arts, it's AXC for short, but it's a ROP program for high school students. and it's a full shop, and they leave with ASE certifications. We have welding labs going in now, so now they're going to start teaching welding and fabrication there. So we are on that board. I volunteer a ton with SEMA Cares, SEMA show committee. So, I mean, and then we're always going to, like I said, different things. I'm on a Jeep club, so I teach, go out with girls on the weekend and help off road. And so we're constantly doing stuff, but these things to us, we're all very passionate about. We want more people to get excited about doing what we love as well. And at the same time, I mean, it's teaching us constantly too. It's constantly, we're learning every single time we're out there doing stuff, teaching other people with the students, with builds out there with that, doing stuff. We're constantly learning as well. So I mean, yes, we're super busy, but I mean, I absolutely love it,
Yeah, we're engrossed in it for a reason.
It definitely sounds like you guys are busy. Yeah, but it's fun though. Like you like doing it, you want to do a lot of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what is the 1 year plan for the business? What do you guys want to be doing, SEMA crunch time next year?
I totally, no, not more. Not more.
Not more.
I don't know if that's the word. I don't know if more is the word.
Okay.
Okay.
She's like, I have it on record right now.
Yeah.
This is recorded.
I can't say no sometimes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
For her, maybe she wants to do more.
No.
But no, definitely like the builds and stuff. We have been working on like a product line and stuff, and I think we've started to become known for our signature builds, for more of our design and our style, and aesthetic of what we turn out for our personal builds.
Okay.
And we've been noticing so many people, wanting to have that, and like, well, why aren't you making this, and why aren't you doing this, and why aren't you, so
more like manufacturing a package.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, basically even now, I mean, we have, customers come to us. We have a customer from Texas that's bringing us his expedition, to do a full build like our expedition,
Mm-hmm.
So we do get customers from all over the country as well, to do things like that. But, a lot of people, that's the thing is they're like, well, can't you do that here? And, we're getting calls from everywhere. We're like, well, no, we're in California, but they're like, well, can't you make these products? And we're like, wow, we just had 100 people. Oh, sorry. They got all out again. Sorry. But, we're like, we just had 100 people calling that. Maybe there's something to it, So, so we're just starting to see that too. So, I mean, for me personally, I think I'd like to, see where that kind of goes and takes us. And definitely like even this year, you'll kind of see, I mean, we got some kind of cool, like, high profile builds that, we're working on, and to see kind of where that takes us to with those opportunities. I think they're going to be pretty cool for next year.
Awesome. So now this is the long-term question.
What about Sara?
Oh, yeah,
wait.
What
I want to
do
hear
you think, Sarah? Yeah.
Because I'm like, more SEMA builds.
No, I don't mean like more than the 10 we're already building. I meant just to keep building,
custom builds throughout the year.
Doing custom builds throughout the year.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had custom builds where we've done them, in like February, March, and like done them for outside of just SEMA. And I would say just doing builds consistently for people, not just for the SEMA show, but to continue to be known just to do builds throughout throughout the year, instead of just for SEMA.
Just a custom shop. Yep.
Yeah, just to, focus more on those custom builds as one-offs. Definitely the product line. We're very excited about that. I mean, and another thing is we're right now in the process of trying to become a women-owned business, a registered women-owned business. So just some different things, but I mean, definitely what Theresa said right now is what our goal is for sure, I think,
and hitting Todd on the part that you're like, asking us about like business and where do you like that aspect of it is like everyone knows. So like right now we're doing, services and stuff, and those are good because, as a retailer, there's only a certain amount that you're making, right? We only have a certain percentage. For the labor side of it, we can pretty much charge whatever we want on labor and stuff. But then, to the manufacturing side of it, you're like, wow, you start to see, what type of numbers.
A bunch of parts. Yeah.
Totally. And so we've seen that too. We're like, okay, do we want to get into that? Is that something, so, I mean, there is opportunity in other ways like that so that we can see our business kind of grow and expand too.
Very cool. Yeah. I like to get shops doing the, like a focused package customization plan. It's really like, you guys talked about it. You're like, we build this car and everybody loves it. It's like, yeah, why don't you just manufacture that? Here's your stage 1, 2, 3, or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, it's this amount of money. You guys do it so many times, you get good at it. You can charge, your margins can be fantastic, and
they get better as they go.
Yeah, because it's hard for people to focus on the labor side. They've always been trained, and again, it comes from, I mean, it's been probably 10 years now, but when you were really making money on parts, it's probably 15 years. Yeah, it's like it used to be you could make the majority of your profit came from the part sales, and then you installed stuff to just support that. But now it's flopped. So it's like you make nothing on the parts and you have to do the installs to support it. And I'm like, yeah, like let's focus on that. Like do more of the installs and charge like enough for it. And that's really the key to success. And I always say, the basement dweller can't steal that from you. The Chinese knockoff can't steal that from you. Whatever you want to equate it to, it's like, you can have a really good competitive advantage if you get good at the labor side. So then what is your like your 5-year plan? Like thinking really far out, where do you guys want to see? Do you want to be back up to 25 or 30 people, or do you want to be like the two of y'all?
I'll let Sara go first. I know. Okay. We know. We talk about all this stuff. So.
That's good to talk about it.
We do. We talk about it all the time.
Usually people don't talk about it, and this one catches them by surprise. So.
Oh, no. We're excited.
So definitely, obviously, like we want to, we're talking about like the manufacturing, like she said. So hopefully we will have that in full scale by then in the 5-year plan. We have a house out in Johnson Valley, which is out here. It's like an area that's like where the King of the Hammers is. And so it's like a big area for like off-roading and stuff. So we actually have a place out there. So we want to do some more, probably more like events out that way, or just things that we can do. More hands-on stuff and
trail rides and
things. So that way we can be more interactive with groups of people and with customers. So we've done a couple this year so far, and one of them we had, I think it was like 27 people on the trail with us. Cool. Yep. Yeah, and they were all beginners. And then at TDS this year, I went with a group of girls, and they were all beginners. And then I went on a small day ride the other day. So it's like, just doing more of that kind of like interactive and having those trail days and having more events like that as well, is one of the things that we've been trying to focus on a little bit more. And then, so
that's a fun tangent though. Like that's pretty cool. Like interactive stuff, for all your customers and the cars you build.
Yeah, totally. So a lot of the other things is even like, so like a lot of the vehicles we're building now and stuff. I mean, like she said, so we'll go out to King of the Hammers, and like, a lot of the media and stuff, they don't even have people to drive them around. So, we're like, hey, we're going to offer all of our vehicles, to do things like that too. Because a lot of these people come out and like media will come out and be like, oh, I've never done this before. I don't know what to do.
Yep.
I'm just here to cover this or something. So really like help people like that out just to get them, just an understanding of what's going on. And they can kind of like, not just like, oh, I'm thrown out here like, hey, let me teach you a little bit more about this and stuff. and then for me on the 5-year plan and things, and she knows, like, I want to do, like, racing and stuff like that. So off-road racing, a thing that a lot of people have always told us, basically, like, starting out. So she had mentioned, like, AXC. So that's Alex Exidius. In 1946, he's the one that started SoCal Speed Shop. So, and he was doing, Bonneville, racing and stuff like that. So it's like, he always said, he's like, no, he's like, in order to get your name out there, like, you have to do something, like become a racer, or do something, you have to prove yourself in some way. So then people start to look at you and they're like, oh, okay, you can do this. Like, I do believe in the things you do also, not just, and that's why she said, like, we go out and do these things, but it's like doing more of that, being more interactive, being like, no, like, we can do everything that you guys can do as well, and especially being women, doing that too. It's not just, it is a male dominated industry. So, I mean, we're out there now doing all this stuff, but really just going, beyond that, and just, making sure people know, like, we're just as capable as they are, doing all this kind of stuff. So, we're just a lot of that type of stuff. And then again, with the product line and that just kind of growing a little bit more and stuff. And, just seeing where that takes us.
Awesome. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited to watch it, watch you guys grow and change. Cool. So this is kind of the last this is just a little fun question I like to ask at the end. Like, I kind of feel like you guys probably drive cool stuff, but what is your like daily driver? Like, I have, like, in parentheses, like, not a race car. So, like, really, like, the thing that you go to and from the shop to, or like you go hang out with.
So many cars we have.
It depends. We don't have one.
I know. So we have a 2019 or 2018, 2019 Ford Expeditions. We have a 2019 Ford Ranger. That one's a lot of fun to drive.
Yep.
My favorite. Yeah.
I have a 2011 Ford Raptor. That one is and it's supercharged. I love driving my truck. It needs some new tires right now, so it's a little under the weather, but, and then you have your
I
Jeep?
drive a 2015 Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
And then, we have a 01 Super Duty. And
the big dually truck is one we get a lot. They're like, I just drive this big giant thing around all the time. Or like a Nissan Maxima or a Honda Civic or something. It's usually like usually the gist of it.
No, we drive like supercharged trucks that get like 10 miles an hour.
No default HOV lanes for you, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, so just kind of to close out here, how do people, get in contact with you guys? What's the website and Facebook page and Instagram? Where can they go just to find more information?
Sure. So our website is LGE-CTS.com. Our Instagram is at LGE_CTS Motorsports. And then you can find us on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/LGE-CTS Motorsports. So they can pretty much find us anywhere. I think if you Google us too, Theresa Contreras or Morosan or LGE-CTS, you can pretty much find us anywhere on there too.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
Definitely. Otherwise, stop by the shop in San Dimas, California.
Yeah. Come and say hi, huh? Not for too long.
Come and say hi.
You got to get back to work. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate getting some insight on your business, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the future.
Cool, Todd. I appreciate it too.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Do It for a Living. You can find out more about this guest, this show, and even details about what we just talked about at our website. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/doitforaliving and tell us who you want to hear from. And most importantly, subscribe to the podcast. Click subscribe. Do it now. Seriously. I'll wait while you grab your phone. Open up the podcast app. Tap the subscribe button. When you subscribe, you help us gain momentum and attract more high-level guests. Thanks for listening, and good luck.